Let go. Gravity's deliberate tagline is very much contrastly, and interestingly it ends with its very message. Gravity is a thrilling visual and auditory masterpiece, but director Cuaron also crafts a meditation on suffering, grief, and rebirth. If there's one thing the film truly wants to pass on to its audience, it's to let go. Hi guys, I'm Nick, and today, let's look at Gravity. Gravity opts to explore many of its main themes through its stunning imagery rather than normal dialogue. Ryan Stone, the main protagonist, is not a survivor, deliberately hasty to give up and give in to her situation. At the start of the film, she has no reason for living. Her daughter was unfairly and in a split second taken from her, in a ruthless depiction of Murphy's Law that plagues her for the rest of the film. She describes how she is aimlessly driving after this, without a place to go.
I go to work, and I just drive.
Space metaphorically represents her drifting through life after the death of her daughter. Earth and life just in her sight, but just out of her reach as she floats outside it aimlessly. During this scene, she is also tethered to Matt, tethered to another human being like a child. This is our first look at some of the reoccurring umbilical cord symbolism in the film. The tether is even attached to the stomach section. Thus, when she has to let Matt go, she has to let go of that tether, metaphorically and literally connecting the two.
You have to let me go, or we both die.
When you go, we're fine.
She has to learn to live for herself. This motif recurs when she has to unhook another cord from her escape vessel. She's symbolized as a child, held back before birth. This is furthered in the solitude of her escape pod, hearing voices in her shuttle. Like a baby, she can only kick and make animal sounds, in a desperate bid to communicate to the adults outside. However, the most striking use of birth symbolism is brought about when Stone enters the ISS, shedding her armor, her protection, and curling into a fetal position. There she floats, curled like a child in the light of Earth, even so far as having ropes as her umbilical cord. Her character is symbolized as beginning to be reborn. She now exists in the womb, the ISS station nurturing her and preparing her to survive until later, when she is violently evicted. Here we also get our first strong look at Gravity's other main idea. As she leaves the ISS and enters the escape pod, we start to see symbolism of Christ the Redeemer, as here she turns off the oxygen, effectively trying to kill herself, but then is brought back to life, much like Christ after 3 days. Faith symbolism and the allude to faith is prevalent throughout the entire movie. As Stone goes from station to station, we start to see various allusions to the idea that although she is surrounded by science, humanity needs more than just chemicals and engineering to survive. It needs spirit. Although Stone has all the technology and all the means to get back to Earth, Gravity shows she lacks one real thing: the will to want to. Not to survive, but the will to want to live. It's not until her faith is restored does she want to live once again, Matt coming down in the form of an angel, passing on to her a message to let go, leave and climb above the grief and the guilt of her daughter. It's here Stone finally lets go, passing her suffering up higher, asking Matt very much of how someone would pray to an angel to tell her girl that her mother is not giving
Give her
up.
a big hug, a big kiss for me, and tell her that Mama misses her. Tell her that she is my angel. She makes me so proud. So proud. And you tell her that I'm not quitting.
She was so afraid she was going to lose that daughter's shoe. But the shoe was right under the bed. She was so terrified of losing everything about her daughter, when her daughter was still there. She was just looking in the wrong place. Here, to me, this was where the other symbolic elements unlocked. Her suit subtly changes throughout the film, shedding from the white, bulky suit of the beginning to the almost skin-hugging, earthy brown suit, then to her skin-tight, organic singlet. Her soul and self shifting from sterile, cold and clean, to living, organic hues. The score also follows in suit, growing from the cold, whirring sounds of space to the soulful sound of humanity. Thus, as she re-enters our world, she falls like an angel. It's here we get my favourite and most potent symbol in the film, As Stone endures her rebirth, Cuaron pans the camera upwards to a totem of the Buddha. Gravity shows us that, as Buddhism states, we are all connected by our suffering, but we cannot give in to it. Life is ultimately too short, too fragile to regret and grieve. We need to learn to let go of our own suffering, put our faith in what we believe in, strap in, and enjoy life's wild ride. Thus, when Stone lands into life once again, she is reborn. In the ooze of the lake, she sheds her protective skin, her safe spacesuit, sheds her old self, and rises up through the water, just like the amphibian before her, testing every human strength she has, not struggling to survive, but fighting to live, clambering onto land like a primordial creature, sprawled out on all fours, and feeling the ground beneath her once more. Then finally, an allusion to the creation of life and Darwinism itself, she rises up on her own two legs and takes her first steps into the foreign world. Reborn. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. I know I have this really weird space fetish at the moment. Side note, this was actually the first film back in 2013 where I actually looked at it and went, huh, there's symbols in this, that means something. So this one's kind of special for me because it's the first film that I actually decided I wanted to do something like this analysis thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to put your own ideas in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Nick out.